I'm joined now by Ricky Wysocki, who's off to an amazing start here in the 2016 season. Ricky, we're not even halfway through and you've got 9 victories already out of 14 events played. How do you get on such a streak?
You know, it's just a combination of a few different things and just me feeling confident out on the course and just, you know, with my new Latitude disc. I know it's my second year being sponsored, so it's really just a combination of that and just, you know, I have everything with my company, Wysocki Bomb, and I just feel really confident right now in my game. My game's coming along, so it's just everything I feel like is coming along for the right time. And, you know, I really just am looking forward to the World Championships. That's my main goal, and it has been for all these tournaments. You know, all these tournaments are just to gauge myself and really just gauge myself and really focus and bear down for what's to come in the Worlds.
Well, so many people talk about the World Championships. In the 20-plus Worlds I've attended, the most exciting one I've ever seen was when it came down to you and Paul. And obviously just short, and there's been a lot of conversation throughout the last couple of years about that. There's been articles written about it. And right now, you've got the upper leg as you guys are moving into the World Championships. Is that a momentum swing in your favor?
Yeah, for sure. You know, and it's just, you know, that's sometimes what it takes when it comes down to something that close. And so many times it came down that close, and I just feel like, you know, he's had the edge going into tournaments, and that's why he's won the previous years. But this year, you know, I think it, and you know, confidence is such a big thing when it comes to that, and I really feel that it's gonna be different this year.
He might be rated #1 and ranked #1, but are you playing better golf than him right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty clear that, you know, just from the tournaments and what's going on, you know, you can say or think whatever you want, but, you know, it's just the fact is, you know, I'm feeling confident, and at this point in my career, I feel like if I play my best and he plays his best, I'm going to beat him.
How does it feel to know everyone is chasing you right now? You're out here playing, you're dominating these tournaments. There's an X on your back. Everybody wants to come beat you. Well, how's that feel?
You know, definitely, it's weird, you know, because I'm usually chasing someone else. You know, I've been ranked #1 in the world before, and so it's really cool that, you know, I feel like right now, I feel like I'm back to where I was when I was ranked #1. So I guess that's really all that matters, is what I think. You know, and obviously, you know, the rankings mean a lot, but for me, it's just how I feel. And right now, I feel like I'm #1 quality, and in my own head, that's how I feel.
Let's fast forward a few days. The World Championships are done. Give us your prediction.
I gotta go Wysocki Bomb. You're the Wysocki Bomb.
All right, that's Wysocki Bomb, WysockiBomb.com. This guy's playing for the win this year. Let's check it out. And welcome to the final 9 of the 2016 Professional Disc Golf Championships. I'm Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, and I'm joined by Robert McCall. And Robert, it's go time.
It's go time. It was intense this morning. We saw Paul make up 4 strokes on Ricky, and so we go into the finals with Ricky Wysocki sitting at 55 under par. Paul McBeth is at 50 under par. Nikko Locastro at 45 under par, and then Cameron Colglazier is going to be the 4th on our card at 41 under par. Out here at the Country Club, the wind is picking up a little bit, so we can see some multiple stroke swings if people decide to get aggressive or even to lay up. So I think we're in for a real treat this afternoon.
Well, we have to, of course, congratulate Valerie Jenkins as she has just bested the women's field. She has captured her 4th world title. Congratulations to Valerie and the rest of our divisional winners out there this week. Ricky Wysocki is hungry. He wants that first title, and for the last 4 years, Paul McBeth has been in his way, including some dramatic playoffs and some amazing play. Right now, it looks like Ricky Wysocki is favored, but as you know, we have 9 holes to play, and we're at the Country Club. For Robert and Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, let's get to the action again. This is the final 9 at the PDGA World Championships.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Emporia Country Club for the Professional Disc Golf Association World Championships. Would like to remind our spectators, when you're heading out on the course, please silence your cameras and cell phones. Observe our volunteers out there with the rope and the signs. Please stay behind the players, the caddies, the leaderboard. Be respectful of them as they take their shots out there, and give them plenty of space out on the course. Before we announce our final group, we would like to recognize our world champion so far today in the Men's Pro Legends Division, John Kirkland. The Senior Grand Master Women, Sandy Gast. The Grand Master Women, Susan Stevens.
Hey, I'm here for you.
In the Senior Grandmaster Men, David Greenwell. In the Master Men, John E. McCrae.
All right, John E.
And in the Open Women's Division, Valerie Jenkins. And now our 3 o'clock tee times. The Open Men's Division at 55 under par, representing latitude 64. From Fort Mill, South Carolina, Ricky Wysocki.
All right. Ricky's played this tee shot conservatively with this hyzer all week. He's just looking for that to fade into the fairway. And he is center cut. Should have a relatively short upshot to this basket.
At 50 under, representing Innova, the 2012, 2013, 2014, and reigning world champion. From Huntington Beach, California, Paul McBeth.
And McBeth has put a move on this. He's going to need for that to sit down as he's going after the basket. There'll be a spotter who will indicate whether he is, and he has found himself OB on the left side.
At 45 under, representing Daredevil Discs from Grass Valley, California, Nikko Locastro.
And Nikko makes his intent clear from the beginning. He rips his destroyer out flat. He needs that to swing back to the basket. Oh, and it's come up just a few feet shy of coming back in bounds. He's going to be taking his upshot way back the fairway.
64 from Theodore, Alabama, Cameron Colglazier.
And Cameron puts it out to the right. That is fading back to the fairway. He's found himself on the left side. It will be a very exciting matchup out here, as none of these competitors are short on distance. These are some of the longest throwers in the game. Obviously, also some of the most accurate throwers in the game. And I'm looking for a good show here today. This may be even more exciting than a typical Final Nine, where everything is really close and compact. We're going to see that Nikko and Cameron Colglazier, for instance, along with Paul McBeth, they're going to go for everything. They have to. They can only move up here in the standings. There's a significant amount of strokes separating them from the next player, so they know that if they're going to make any moves, they have to play aggressive. And I'm thinking they're going to put on a great show for us.
Absolutely. And if you consider which holes that we're playing, distance is not exactly at a premium on these particular holes. Hole 2 is a par 4 where, I mean, yes, it's eagleable, I guess, but they would have to put an unbelievable drive on it. So if they'll just find themselves in the middle of the fairway, good scores can be had out here today. The real separator is going to come on the back few holes where we saw Paige Pierce throw out of bounds twice on hole 13, and Katrina threw out of bounds once. That really set them up to be a few strokes behind Valerie at that point.
And we've seen it time and time again. Nikko with a gentle turnover with his putter as he's throwing it up toward the basket. Nikko's looking at best at a 4 here on this opening hole. McBeth is out of bounds. However, depending on the placement of that spot, he may have a relatively short putt to be able to get up and down and possibly save his circle 3.
Relatively short is probably being pretty generous. I think he's going to be, well, now that we see his orange flag, it looks like he's about at the circle's edge, maybe just outside at 35 feet.
And because we have the luxury of speculating, I have to ask now, if Ricky were to give up this 5 strokes and somehow be bested by McBeth, would that be a collapse on Ricky's part, or would that be exceptional play on Paul's part?
Honestly, it would have to be a little of both. I expect Ricky, based on what we've seen this week, to play exactly as he has, which is pretty conservative on these holes. He's not going for eagles. He's going for birdies. And for somebody with his power, those are very attainable out here. So if Paul were to win, Ricky would have to make a couple of really big mistakes, and Paul would have to absolutely put the pedal to the metal and just start birdieing and eagling every single hole that we have left.
And McBeth probably within circle's edge. It looks like it's tough to get an exact read, but I would say he's at no more than 33 feet. That may be even closer to 30, slightly uphill. This is for him to save the penalty 3 and not lose any strokes. And McBeth is shocked that he has found himself short. And using just about every link found in the basket, Nikko is in. He's going to walk away with a bogey 4. And McBeth will drop to 49 under par, and Ricky is in for the par himself. We'll be back with you in a few moments after a word from our sponsors. We're moving on to this second hole here in the final 9 of the Disc Golf World Championships.
For me, it's time with my friends.
For me, it's a walk in the park.
For me, it's my job. Go in. Oh.
For me, it's all about the exercise.
For me, it fits into my busy lifestyle.
For me, it's my passion.
For us, it doesn't cost much to play.
For me, it's fun.
Hole 2 is a 549-foot thin hole with an OB left and right. Players throw over a small hill off the tee and are looking to get past the grouping of trees that guard the last 150 feet to the hole. The terrain slopes slightly right to left, which can cause some unlucky shots to skip into the water. Shots that get knocked down by the trees will face a short upshot.
Ricky has put that drive way too high, and that's fading toward the water. He's going to have to get a really good stick to stay in bounds.
Yeah!
And he somehow miraculously gets a green flag. We saw a couple of our female competitors go out of bounds with shots almost identical to that.
And Colglazier with what is the straightest shot we've seen released here on hole number 2. He will easily find himself with a green flag and in a great position to try and get up and down for the birdie 3.
That was Cam's tournament plastic longbowman that he's been throwing on straight to turnover lines all day. Paul's gotten extremely aggressive with the destroyer that turned over, just crested the hill. Looks like if he's past the trees, he may have a look at eagle.
Nikko's looking for it to just get through the trees. Unfortunately, as we've seen out here with many of the trees in Emporia, there's not a lot of getting through them, so to speak. If you're hitting them, you're more than likely getting caught up or knocked down immediately wherever they enter that space.
I think that actually might have been a favorable tree for Nikko, with the wind coming slightly headwind and then slightly right to left. If his disc's nose had stayed up kind of the way that it was, it might have faded toward the water and found itself out of bounds. And so I think that set him up for a relatively easy upshot for a birdie 3 on this hole.
And both you and Dixon have said anytime Ricky's pulling out that disc, you can count on a solid shot, and he's executed there very nicely.
And he's taken advantage of what looks to be a good break on his drive. If his disc wasn't touching the out-of-bounds line, it was extremely close to it. Doesn't matter to Ricky. He just takes out his harp and puts it inside 10 feet. Nikko's thrown his same turnover putter to what looks like about 12 feet short of the basket. It looks like he had a bit of a low ceiling, but usually shouldn't be a problem for him.
That'll be an easy tap in here for Cameron Colglazier. Paul McBeth with another opportunity here to pick up a stroke. This would be an eagle too. He's looking at least 90, if not 100 feet. And that was high out of his hands. He was definitely giving it enough juice to make sure that he got it there to the pin. However, may have caught a little bit of a wind lift and up and over the basket. At best, Paul's looking at a birdie.
Yeah, and at this point, Paul doesn't have much to lose. We've got 8 holes to play. We're standing on our second hole, and so if he doesn't run that putt, say he just lays up for a birdie and they push. Now Ricky has 7 holes to play with 6 strokes to lead. So those are the sort of putts he's going to have to make, and sort of putts that he's going to have to go for in order to make a move on Ricky today.
And with hundreds of spectators out here lining the fairways, McBeth is in for his birdie putt. And Nikko is in with his hyzer putt. More often than not, we talk about Nikko's putt coming in high on the chains, and we've yet to really see one come back out at him, but he was high on the chains and in, and Wysocki gives his patented wave, and the massive gallery continues to move forward. We've got just 7 holes to play. Ricky Wysocki still up 6.
One of the more picturesque holes of the course, hole 11, pushes players through a thin tunnel of trees out into an open and turn to the basket. While the left side of the hole is properly OB, the right side might as well be, as discs that end up there have a tough time getting out. Once players get out into the open, the shot to the basket is relatively straightforward and the green plays nice and open. The shot off the tee is often what makes or breaks the hole.
And after playing the Emporia Country Club holes 1 and 2, the final 9 moves over here to hole number 11. That is a clean shot. Ricky with a clean shot, getting the congratulations there by Cam Colglazier. Cam wouldn't mind a duplication of that effort.
Both Cam and Ricky have chosen Fusion Enforcers for this drive, and you can see the reason. They turn them over out of their hand, don't get a lot of fight back, and so they're great line holders for a power thrower.
And I've got to ask, has that ever been attempted before? And that is a world of hurt. That is not going to work for Paul McBeth. He gets a green flag. However, that is not going to be in a good position.
I respect his decision, honestly. I mean, 7 holes to go, 6 strokes. This is the sort of hole that if he really gets on, he might give himself a look. You could tell he was going to go for that by how far he started off the tee box to really get that extra power.
And a more traditional option there by Nikko Locastro, straight up the center. That's going to work out very well for him. And a very large gallery moves down the fairway here. I'm going to catch up with Dixon Jowers. And Dixon, you've been out here helping me call the shots. First of all, we appreciate it over here at SmashBoxx, and all of our viewers out there are being informed by the country club, getting an inside look from yourself, especially with the women's round. Has anything jumped out at you at this point? We're 3 holes in, and knowing these players, has anything jumped out at you?
I mean, you could obviously see that Paul and Nikko decided from the beginning, I've got to try to push the issue here. In speaking with Ricky before the round, I asked him how his ankle was doing, and he said, it's fine, I can deal with anything for 9 holes. So it's on his mind a little bit, but his first few shots where he had the opportunity, like his drive on hole 2, the forehand is probably the smarter shot there, but he went ahead and went backhand, so it's not bothering him enough to change his game plan. And at this point, he needs to do just like Val did on the last several holes. Put it in the middle, and you can see what happened right here. Paul tried to get aggressive, and he's going to be struggling for the 4, whereas Ricky's got an easy 3 to go. So that needs to be his game plan. 6-stroke lead with 7 holes to go, or 6.5 holes to go. This is Ricky's to lose, and it would be a monumental collapse for that to happen.
I think the word of the day may be maintain. And we saw, as Dixon mentioned earlier, Val Jenkins was able to do just that, especially after the challenges her card mates faced on hole 13 earlier. And here, Ricky Wysocki with a comfortable lead. He just needs to maintain what he's been doing. And if anybody's going to come up and try to challenge him, they're going to have to throw some exceptional shots. Dixon, I trust that you never threw over into that wooded area before, but what would it be like if you had?
Well, I only know about it because the people I was playing with threw in there, so I helped them, but I was never actually.
Very kind of you.
Yeah. Actually, Bobby Brown threw one in from about 50 feet inside of these woods. He chucked it right into the basket from there. It's a pretty cool shot. I'm really surprised, actually. The aggressive play here, I guess unless you're Paul McBeth and you can throw over trees that are 300 feet away, 50 feet high, the aggressive play here is the roller. That's what I thought he would go with if he was going to try to deuce this. But he is in the darkness. He can't be more than 100 feet away from me, and I don't have the first clue where he's at right now. Somewhere in the woods. I would expect to see a shot come flying out of the foliage if anything's going to happen here. But that's the best case scenario. He has to be real careful. There is an upslope in there more severe than the upslope that we're standing on. So if he does not navigate that well, he might have trouble getting out on his next shot. So this is where, like, I didn't think that anybody could jump 2 people of the final 9 here, but I thought any of the 3, second, third, or fourth place could jump 1 person. So Paul needs to be careful here of, not that he really cares about second place, but he needs to be careful to not give away too many strokes to Nikko, who's sitting right in the middle of the fairway, and who's already licking his chops on the possibility of moving up here.
Well, I think you said it best when you say Paul McBeth does not care about second place. Second to him would be the same as taking 22nd. He is here and he only has 1 goal in mind, and it is the title. And right now it is not looking good in his favor. Ricky Wysocki is calm and collected and in a perfect position here on this very challenging hole where Paul McBeth is. As Dixon, you just mentioned, we're not even sure. It looks like he's finally been able to punch out. He had to deliberate in there. He took quite the time to pick his line, and then even then he came up short in his approach. This is Cameron Colglazier up to throw next. And a simple hyzer approach there by Cameron Colglazier. And Nikko with a very safe approach shot here. You've got to be happy walking away with a tap-in 3.
Yeah, this is one of those that can bite you. The uphill can mess with your upshot if you're just a little farther away than these guys. But with how far they threw their drives, I mean, this is a routine up and down. Ricky might just throw it in the basket. Oh, my goodness. Looks like he came up just short of the basket. He doesn't even need extra strokes, but he almost just got one there by tossing it in.
And McBeth has finally surfaced here from the right side rough. He's looking at least at...
I mean, it's at least 90, maybe 100.
Maybe 150,000. No, I would say he's probably looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of 80 to 90 feet.
Yeah.
And Drew Gibson to my right is disagreeing with our estimation here. I was going with the effective play of 80 to 90 feet. That maybe was in the 70-foot range, Drew?
Yeah, I mean, probably closer to that, but, you know, you got to give him the benefit. You know, that was a 30-footer instead of a 28-footer, you know. Sometimes.
And here we are on the third hole. Paul McBeth is going to relinquish another stroke to Ricky Wysocki with his aggressive tee shot. That's going to put Ricky Wysocki up 7 strokes with just 6 to play. And I got to think the pressure continues to lift off of Ricky Wysocki's shoulders at this point. We're going to move over to hole number 12 in just a moment. You're watching the Disc Golf World Championships right here on SmashBoxxTV.
Sorry, I legitimately thought he was on the edge of the woods.
Are you new to disc golf? Or maybe you've been playing for a while and just saw some pro smash it with a Dynamic Discs Defender. But you're just not sure that disc is right for you. If any of this describes you, then the Dynamic Discs Buyback Program is for you. Just go to any of our buyback retailers and purchase a disc from Dynamic Discs, Latitude 64, or Westside Discs. Try out that disc for 14 days, and if you're not completely satisfied with that disc, take it back and get it replaced with whatever disc you want in the store of any brand. Go to dynamicdiscs.com/retail to find a buyback retailer near you and get out there and play some disc golf.
Hole 12 plays 364 feet and moves left to right off the tee. Players are challenged to throw a pure shot straight between 2 groupings of trees to get to the green off the tee. The final tree near the basket can really...
Ricky's gone opto compass again. He's getting a nice turn on that, but I don't think it's going to quite reach the basket. That looks like it's going to come up short, but if you're in Ricky's position, safe is good here. You take a 3 and you'd be happy with it. Of course, it's probably in circle Ricky, so he might have a look at it. Colglazier's gone with that same tournament plastic longbow, and he gets a good early turn out of it, and it just stables out at the end. He's made the right mistake to make, being left to the basket. I bet he's about 30 feet away, maybe a little bit closer. Nikko's gone with what he usually throws for a roller disc, and you can see why. It is an absolute awesome hyzer flip flight, except for he catches the very last tree to the left of the basket. That's going to drop him down shorter than he'd like, but he will likely have a putt at this basket.
And Paul McBeth changing up his game plan for the last few rounds we've seen here. He's gone with a...
Great shot, Paulie!
And he almost aces that. Paul McBeth has switched it out. He had previously been throwing a Metal Flake T-Bird 3, and today...
He throws a T-Bird 3.
A different one, though.
Yeah,
and that
right.
is what's so important here, folks. As we're moving down the fairway here, and this enormous gallery continues to grow, taking in all of the action, we'd like to thank our broadcast sponsors from throughout this entire week, including our title sponsor in the PDGA, the Professional Disc Golf Association. Please go out and sign up to become a PDGA member. You can do so at pdga.com. And Robert, in the women's round, we feel like it was ultimately decided on the next hole, hole number 13. Paige Pierce had thrown out of bounds 2 times in a row.
That's right.
And Katrina Allen had also thrown out of bounds. Val was in putting at a 2 and ultimately walked away with a 3. From that point forward, it was Val Jenkins World Championships.
Yeah, I kind of doubt we'll have that sort of swing from the men. They've got such power that they can just throw something very overstable up high in the air and swing it into the sidewalk safe.
And Nikko is left side chain. That will result in a par. Cameron Colglazier finds himself pin high, looking at approximately 30, maybe 35 feet, with a huge gallery behind him. And Colglazier off the top band here on what is Country Club hole number 12. And the concentrated fist pump by Ricky Wysocki and the patented wave to the crowd. Ricky Wysocki has got to be feeling good.
Oh, yeah.
This is his championships to lose at this point. And that puts an exclamation point on what I just said. This is officially Ricky Wysocki's worlds. Paul McBeth didn't even take his time on that short putt. Typically, he takes a little bit more time, especially when it's going to be a birdie putt. We see him kind of rush in terms of a bogey or a par putt that he's been frustrated with. Sure. Even on that birdie putt, he rushed up there quickly. I think he knows as it slips out. We're going to move on. Ricky Wysocki in the lead here at the 2016 PDGA World Championships.
Hello, it's me, your pal, JC. I've heard your prayers for an improvement in your disc golf game. Well, JC here is going to go ahead and throw you a pretty big bone. I present the Traveler. It's an overstable driver by Full Turn Discs. Isn't it heavenly? It's the newest disc on the market. And you can take it from the highest authority that this is the disc. You're welcome. Jesus.
Hole 13 tees from the OB sidewalk and forces players to the left again. A series of trees prevents good progress down the inbound section of the hole, and many players feel the need to hang their discs out over OB again. The basket plays 20 feet from the OB line, so even putts have risk of sneaking out here.
And we are here live on the tee of hole 13. This is a 371-foot uphill par 3. This is where we saw the drama unfold in the women's professional open division, where Paige Pierce threw her drive out of bounds 2 times. Katrina threw out of bounds once. That gave Valerie Jenkins a 4-stroke lead going into the final holes. And Ricky is making his intent clear. He's taking no risk. He's got a BT hard harp in his hand. Looks like he's lining up a little forehand just to come to play inbounds and take his 3. And I absolutely love this play from Ricky. He is several strokes up. He is not even taking any danger into account. He's just going to pitch up the fairway, pitch up under the basket, and take his 3. If he loses a stroke on this hole, he'll only be leading by 7 strokes. So he's made a great decision here. Colglazier has more to play for, and so he's gone with a Fusion Enforcer. Huge hyzer. Oh, it skips off the cart path and just in front of the basket. That's a fantastic shot by Cam that'll leave him about probably 12 or 15 feet.
Nikko going out over the OB on the right side. That does get a slight skip. He's going to be short, looking at a birdie from there. And Paul again will be running at this, trying to get it as close to the basket, if not in, as he has nothing to lose. And that is not going to find the inbounds line unless it gets a huge skip. And we're waiting, and it looks like it has. That must have gotten just enough skip from our vantage point. I thought that was going to get held up in the grass in the OB territory. However, it has skipped across. He finds himself inbounds. And Robert, you said a moment ago that you love the play by Ricky Wysocki. I'm almost going to go as far as I think that was a little too conservative. I understand throwing a tee shot, making sure you're covering over the inbounds throughout the entire way. I know that he's trying to take the out of bounds completely out of play, but you could throw the easiest hyzer in the world and at least get a little bit closer. He's going to have to rely on throwing a decent approach shot here, which he should have no problems with, but come on. Throw it a little harder, Ricky.
No,
Go
man,
out and over.
I disagree. Let's say for some reason he slips and his hyzer ends up out of bounds. Now he's throwing 3 from the tee box. Instead, he's taken his harp, which was inbounds the entire flight. So even if he goes out of bounds, he's throwing 3 from inbounds up the fairway. Easy 4. I love this play. It's perfect.
You would. Now, and Ricky, of course, very effective. That's really what counts. He will likely be carding the 3 here. And as you said, even if he loses a stroke to McBeth, he'll still be up 7 with just a few to play. And going with what we've deemed as Nikko Current, as opposed to the Nikko Classic putt. We've seen him go back and forth with his putting stance throughout the last few days. This time, staggered straddle putt. What's he thinking?
I don't know, but he hasn't made a lot from that stance the last couple of days. When he switched back to the straddle, he started making a ton of putts. So I'm surprised to see him go with that.
And McBeth takes the birdie, going long here on Country Club hole number 13. That's going to push him back to 51 under par. Easy for Cameron Colglazier. We'll watch Ricky Wysocki tap in before we move over to the long par 4. Stay tuned. You're watching the Disc Golf World Championships right here in Emporia, Kansas. We'll be back in a few moments.
Flashlight LED disc golf discs just changed the game. The unique Disco Select feature allows everyone to choose their own color by simply pressing the middle button, then pressing it again during the first rotation of colors when the one you want appears. Or you can leave it in disco mode, rotating through the 6 different colors for the duration of your game. Designed by serious professionals, crafted from Night Eye's unrivaled sure grip material, and featuring Night Eye's patented fiber optics array, these discs strike the perfect balance of durability, stability, performance, and just plain awesomeness. With easily replaceable batteries and an uber-long life, the Flash Flight driver, mid-range, and putter will shine as they blaze your path to victory, day or night. Night Eyes. Discover your solution.
And Colglazier catches one of the trees here in the opening on the left center side. McBeth has one of his most stable destroyers, one in which when we see him throw far, this is the one that he pulls out. And that is wide right, trying to get a clarification as to whether or not that's out of bounds. It looks as if it is.
And Ricky's just blasted a Fusion Defender on a hyzer, a forehand hyzer. He's going to find himself right in the middle of the fairway. This hole sets up really well for someone with a forehand like Ricky's, where you can just go forehand, and often have a look at a birdie 3.
Here comes a roller by Nikko Locastro. And again, Nikko, with nothing to lose, is throwing a roller. That's going to clear the gallery. And Nikko frustrated as he launched a roller which headed right toward the gallery. Shortly after releasing it, he immediately started yelling, "Heads up." I'm not sure if that caught anyone in the gallery or not. And I've got to ask, did that benefit him in any way?
I don't think that caught anyone in the gallery, and honestly, yeah, if it had caught somebody's leg, maybe it kicked back in bounds. That was on an angle such that it really didn't have a chance to come back in. Even if it did, it would have been way down the fairway, possibly by the golf green, which would have been out of bounds. And so that just had the wrong angle when it hit the ground.
And Colglazier will be first to throw. And as our good friend Steve Dodge at the Disc Golf Pro Tour would say, straight as a string. He has thrown a great drive here.
Yeah, Cam didn't ever really flirt with the out-of-bounds line there, and when he hit that early tree, it pretty much took 3 out of play, so he's done the smart thing and just thrown something pretty overstable down the fairway that he knows is going to finish left. He's not going to flirt with the out-of-bounds. He can get up and down for a 4 from there.
And as we move down this lengthy fairway on the par 4, Dixon, we were talking earlier about Nikko's various putting stances. We've seen him both with a straddle putt as well as a staggered straddle. We're calling it classic versus current. And do you have some inside information on those?
Well, when Nikko was on the practice green right before the round started, he was just jamming putt after putt after putt. He was taking no time. It's almost like it gets in his head when he's sitting on the green during the round. He had a stack of 5 putters, and he would make all 5 of them in 5 seconds, and then he would move on to the next one, bang the next few. So I'm wondering if he's thinking way too much about it, and he just needs to trust his 10,000 repetitions and just do what he knows he can do. One thing that was really interesting looking at the reactions of the players on the box here, Paul throws out of bounds, and it's pretty much over for Paul. Seeing the look on his face and the look of kind of his camp, they almost don't know what to do. They're so confused looking. Ricky throws a 300-foot flick, and he turns around with a giant smile on his face. I mean, Ricky's not the most smiley person out there. You know, he's a pretty straightforward sort of guy. And so I think Ricky knows that he just has to walk this home, and that feeling is starting to come over him. I think Ricky knows he's about to be a world champion.
And speaking to that, Dixon, very few people have worked harder than Ricky Wysocki. He's obviously in the position that he is after tireless hours of not only driving across country, competing on hundreds of different courses in all of these tournaments throughout the years, but also maintaining that focus and then throwing in almost every putt inside 100 feet certainly helps out when you're Ricky Wysocki.
Though it's less obvious on the shot he just threw, that was definitely a layup by Ricky. There is OB on the golf green up to the left of the basket and the fence on the right side. And so he knows about that. He took his felon, which normally I think he'd probably take a distance driver or a felon, but throw it really, really hard. And he just threw it on an easy hyzer to in front of this tree where he can pitch up a BT hard harp under the basket and take his par 4. He wants absolutely nothing to do with the danger anywhere around the basket or anywhere else otherwise.
Well, and Dixon, you had spoke a moment ago about Paul McBeth's camp not really knowing what to do. Paul McBeth rarely finds himself not only out of a tournament, but down 7 strokes with just a few holes to play. So everyone's in a little bit of bewilderment as to how to react.
Yeah, and Ricky is executing his game plan perfectly to really exacerbate that problem. I mean, think back through the round. What's the longest putt Ricky's had to make? 20 feet? 15 feet? And it was for a birdie. He's putting everything under the basket, and with his layup shot drive on the last hole, he put out a big fat sign that said, "All right, everybody, come find me." He said, "Come and get me," and they're not going to be able to. He's got too big of a lead now.
And I don't think that's a cocky play by Ricky at all. I think it's just a smart one, truly. I guess some might try and argue that it could be a cocky play, but I think Rick is doing the exact right thing and just playing to his strengths, which right now are strokes on the field.
And Cameron Colglazier with an Anheuser putt from long range almost draws metal. And we have just 3 holes to play. Again, Ricky Wysocki with a 7-stroke lead going into this hole. I believe that's going to be increased by 1 depending on the putt here by McBeth. And McBeth with a solid putting stroke. However, it's going to be too little and too late.
And he goes with a Nikko current stance and actually does catch left side chains right there. Nikko is in with his putt from about 28 feet. Here's Ricky from about 15.
Ricky will tap in, as will Colglazier, and with just 3 holes to play, we're glad you're tuned in watching the 2016 Professional Disc Golf Association World Championships. We'll be back with you in a few moments after a word from our sponsors and supporters at this amazing event.
Hole 15 plays slightly downhill at 426 feet long. Shooting into a circle of trees inside a near circle of OB, players shooting for the green have a lot to watch out for. Hitting a tree and rolling OB is fairly common on this hole. Once players have made it,
Cam has just crunched a hyzer. He's asking for that to get around the tree, but it's not going to. He catches in the center of it and falls just to the left of the tree on the right side of the fairway.
And Paul McBeth has asked us to scoot back. He's looking for what I refer to as a Johnny V tee pad here. That's 30 plus feet. And an interesting play for McBeth as he uses the back end of the tee pad to get a little bit more distance. And a great shot that checks up and then somehow rolls closer to the pin. I'm not sure what kind of grass is up there, but it worked out in Paul's favor.
Hashtag four-time world champ problems. He actually took the back of this box because there's a decline at the front of the box, and so competitors were allowed to use as far back on the cart path as they needed to.
And Nikko's waiting for his hyzer to check up. And he'll have a long look at birdie from there.
Ricky's grabbed purple enforcer. It's the same one he uses on all of his big hyzers. So this is going to be a stable, safe shot.
And that just may get around the right side of the tree here. I'm not sure that was the intended route, but it's going to work for him.
I think he intended to play it a little bit safer, but when your safe shots look like that, I mean, come on, man. Oh, Dixon said that Ricky's disc hit right underneath Nikko's disc. They're right on top of one another.
I think if you're playing by rules back at your home course, you may need to check in with Valerie Jenkins and Nate Dawson. One of them owes the other person a Bevel beer.
That's right. We don't know if that's in play here at the World Championships, but both Nate and Valerie are here, so I guess we'll find out soon.
And a simple approach shot here by Cameron Colglazier. We'd like to send a big shout out to Bobby Brown, Cool Daddy Slick Breeze, along with Marty Gregoire, both working their ends on the media perspective. Huge assets to the disc golf community, and of course right here at the Disc Golf World Championships.
And a confident stroke from the Nikko Current, trying to prove us wrong that he's picking a different putting stance to make the putts. But that was a very confident stroke from Nikko. What a great putt on this next, I guess, third from the last hole.
And it's just smiles by Ricky Wysocki now. Somebody's going to have to take some pictures because Ricky Wysocki is smiling more than you typically see him. Normally he's got game face mode. Paul McBeth taps in. We've got a walk over to what is normally hole 16. It's our 8th hole here at the World Championships. Stay tuned. You're watching live disc golf right here on SmashBoxxTV.
Disc golf is a sport growing in popularity all over the United States and around the world. Dynamic Discs is the premier disc golf manufacturer, distributor, and retailer for enthusiasts, beginners, experts, and hardcore players. Along with hosting some of the best professional disc golf association tournaments in the country, Dynamic Discs also takes pride in offering the best customer service in the disc golf industry. At Dynamic Discs, customer service isn't just a department, it's the way we do business. Our entire staff at Dynamic Discs is knowledgeable and passionate about growing the sport and providing you with an exceptional experience. We know how important it is to get the products that you order in your hands as quickly as possible. Orders are shipped immediately from our own inventory and arrive at your doorstep in 2 to 3 days to almost any location around the United States. Check us out at dynamicdiscs.com.
And here, Robert, we're talking about Ricky Wysocki and whether or not he's got another layup in him or not. He's played obviously ultra conservative, but first we have Paul McBeth on the tee with a McPro Rock 3. Out of his hand, Paul McBeth said that that was soft. He's gonna find the island green. The matter is, does it stick? And it has trickled off the edge, and that is OB for Paul McBeth.
Ricky's got his layup filling in his hand. I don't even like this a little bit. I respect the play, but man, I wanted to see him go for it.
You've really got to make up your mind here.
Well,
Earlier,
he might have just gone for it unintentionally. That's in the water. Wow.
he almost seemed happy to throw that in the water. I'm thoroughly baffled here.
Yeah, he just smiled and sat down and said, "Doesn't matter." So, I mean, it's already out of his mind. He doesn't care about that at all. But if you're going to do that, man, just throw it at the island, because that's a better place to land.
And as we saw Nikko the other day, very overstable, trying to have that flex out.
Wow.
And Nikko puts himself next to the pin here on our 8th hole of the finals. And Colglazier's also looking for that to finish hard. It comes in.
Oh, yeah.
And he finds himself inbounds. As we move down here on our 8th hole, I'd like to go ahead and recognize again all of our World Championship sponsors here of our SmashBoxxTV broadcast. I mentioned earlier that the PDGA, of course, being the title sponsor. Thank you so much to the PDGA and the amazing staff and crew that are here. We also have ShopTom.com, Sally West, Chris Cobb, Synergy Disc Golf, Paragon Disc Golf. Make sure you check in with Miles Parkhill over at Paragon for any of your disc golf needs. The Disc Golf Pro Tour, Discraft, Dynamic Disc, the PDGA, Dave Weisblum over at Night Eyes, Infinite Disc, and anyone else that had any kind of contribution. We thank you guys so much. Also, Rick Hushane, who's helped out with graphics throughout the week. Thank you guys so much.
And while Rick inevitably puts his putter underneath the basket, I just want to say it has been an absolute joy to spend this week talking about disc golf with you guys. I want to send a shout out to my buddies back home in Austin, and then my best friend back home, my beautiful wife Shay. She has supported me in coming out here this week, and I miss her a lot, but we've had a great time out here.
And people begging for Ricky to knock it home. And just a few hours ago, we saw Paige Pierce give a warm embrace to Valerie Jenkins right here on this bridge, as at that point, Paige Pierce knew it was in fact Valerie Jenkins' world title as Val took home her 4th. Val thanked all of her friends and family and also her mom, Sharon. Sharon, we know you're a huge Smashbox watcher. We appreciate your support, and congratulations to your amazing daughter, not only winning the Bob West Memorial Sportsperson of the Year, but also then taking home her 4th world title, as Colglazier is short on his birdie attempt. Nikko finds himself next to the basket. This is going to be an easy tap in. Unfortunately, even with a perfect shot such as that, it's not really going to mean much in the standings. These guys are placed pretty much where they're going to finish, 1st through 4th. As Cameron taps in, McBeth taps in. McBeth's disc looks retrievable. And Ricky is in as well. We have a brief walk over to our 9th and final hole here at the Disc Golf World Championships. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back in just a few moments after a word from our sponsors.
Hole 18 leaves no rest for the weary on this course. Carrying the first shot over water and into the headwind, players must make a second shot uphill almost 50 feet while dodging an OB ball golf green and plenty of foliage along the way. The basket sits nestled on the side of the hill, sloping down and away from the OB green to the left. The green is well guarded by a number of trees, and shots that go too far past the basket can fall into some very dense trees. This hole has the potential to ruin any scorecard of a weary player at the end of their round.
Championships presented by Dynamic Disc. It's been an amazing week. Thank you so much for joining us. I think you mentioned that you have a beautiful or amazing wife back home giving you support?
Yeah, all of those things. Her name is Shay, and she's the best. That's just all there is to it.
Well, we are so thankful that both you and Dixon Jowers were able to join us here for this week, stepping inside the Smash Box, as we like to say. And the handshakes amongst the competitors here as they're preparing for the final hole.
Nikko's tee shot came out of his hand to the left, and it had a nice turn on it, but it just held over to the left. He's going to be throwing from the drop zone, throwing 3. Cam Colglazier's got his gold line flow, which he's been using for all of his long turnover shots this week.
And he could have used a little bit more time on that, as he put a very nice angle on it, but just not enough time as it was crawling uphill. McBeth with a Star Destroyer. And we can't help but chuckle here, Robert, as that is a crush by Paul McBeth.
I mean, come on, that's seriously 100 feet farther than any drive we've seen this week. That was unbelievable.
And Ricky Wysocki decides to get aggressive, throws a full power shot, and we're going to move down the long walking path that's going to put us across the bridge.
Ricky in his elated state just tried to walk the wrong way after this hole. Said, I don't even know where I'm going. Ricky has about 0 cares in the world right now, as he knows that he's locked up his first world title.
We're going to forge forward here through the sea of spectators, waiting for all of the players and media to try and move forward across the bridge that connects us back towards the country club. And Ricky has been all smiles throughout.
I just have to give one last plug for the City of Emporia and Dynamic Discs this week. This event has run extremely smoothly, and that's all thanks to the work of Dynamic Discs along with the PDGA, and especially Doug Bierkus, our tournament director out here. If you have the chance to come and play Emporia Disc Golf, come out and do it. You will not be disappointed.
I cannot echo those sentiments any better, as Doug and the rest of the crew have put on a great show for everyone, as well as our players who have been out here battling hard throughout this entire week, and our new world champions that have been crowned earlier here in the day. I'd also like to thank ValueNet Fiber, as they help make it possible for our nightly recaps and shows. When we were here for the Glass Blown Open a few weeks ago or a few months ago, they were incredibly helpful. So thank you so much to ValueNet Fiber right here in Emporia, Kansas.
So any shot that doesn't come back and bounce drops out, right? Correct? I don't take it from up there? That's right. Is that right?
Nikko is confirming with the caddy book and the final 9 rules.
Okay.
We're just getting a bit of clarification on the out-of-bounds rules, and Nikko's disc was flying over it, the inbounds area for quite a bit of its flight, but all discs that come to rest out of bounds, whether it's in the water or short of the cart path or left of the cart path, do proceed to the drop zone, which is the silver tee, 587 feet from this tee to the basket.
And Nikko with a huge turnover, maybe just a little too much elevation on that as he's pushed up forward on the fairway. It's still a huge crush.
Behind the players and the rope and the leaderboard, please. On the way up to the 18th fairway. Thank you.
And one of the challenges that we frequently have to deal with here as our galleries continue to grow at these disc golf tournaments is the crowd control, and Dynamic Disc has done their best here to keep all of the spectators back as much as possible. Anytime you're out here watching a disc golf event, please be mindful and respectful of the players and their caddies. Everyone can enjoy the action a little bit better that way.
That's right. But honestly, this is a great problem to have because we've got several hundred people out here in our gallery following the best disc golfers in the world at the 2016 World Championships. And so as we grow and as we endure these growing pains together, we're only going to get better at learning how to handle ourselves in these types of situations. But we've had quite the gallery this week. It's been exciting to see everyone supporting these guys.
And Colglazier having to contend with some of the trees that are directly in front of him. He goes up and over them, however that is stalling out and finishing left. Wysocki looks to be next to throw. Wysocki still sitting at 58 under par, Paul McBeth at 51, Nikko Locastro at 48, and Cameron Colglazier at 44. Looks like Paul will be throwing next.
And for as long as Paul's drive was, Ricky is still closer to the basket. That was a couple of huge drives. Paul plays a pure hyzer, and looks like he fought through it, maybe over the top. He's getting a round of applause, so it looks like he'll have a putt. Ricky has the most carefree hyzer he's had in his whole life. Looks like he's almost running in the basket for an eagle, too. That surely is going to secure Ricky Wysocki's 2016 Professional World Championship.
Drew Gibson moving up the fairway here. It looks like he's picked up the caddy duties for the last hole. Looking for a little caddy credit.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to confirm with him and ask, hey, Drew, I'm not sure you get caddy commission when you just do it for the last hole.
No, I don't. I don't want it. I just wanted to see.
See your boy win?
Yeah, that's it.
That's my boy.
Wysocki hosting a yard sale over here on hole 18 before he moves up to before he moves into his final few putts. Or
You're good.
I'll take one of those.
and all of us are getting closer here on the basket. Robert, we're just a putt or two away. Thank you again so much. And Ricky really lays it up. Come on, Rick. Paul McBeth is in. The reign of Paul McBeth, 4 consecutive world titles. He comes up short Ricky Wysocki, his biggest competitor and biggest rival, gets the best of him. He's already congratulated him. Nikko Locastro with less than 15 feet. Colglazier is in. Nikko is in. And Ricky Wysocki, ladies and gentlemen, is your world champion here in Emporia, Kansas. Ricky Wysocki is here. Congratulations. Ricky Wysocki remains at 58 under par. He's excited.
And stay on me.
Don't have a marker, anyone? Anyone toss your hats out.
I think this is SoccerBomb.com. Ricky, as soon as
oh, yeah.
Go on there.
Cool. All right.
Your camera died.
Good luck, whoever gets it.
First world champion
I'm
hat
about to
right
box
here.
it out.
Right here.
About to box it out.
One time.
One time. Me.
One time.
Just put your...
I didn't know.
Just put one.
Let's get it.
2016.
Yeah, for real.
Oh.
2016.
Roger.
Go, Rick.
Yeah, Rick. Rick, you're trying to keep it on the tree.
What's up, guys?
Come on, Rick. I can't see this one. We're at the bottom of it. Bottom of it's green.
I'll go bottom. Good job.
our first world champion to be offering parting gifts here, Ricky Wysocki.
I gotta be share the generosity.
Put it in the water.
It's been a crazy week here. Ricky Wysocki is signing this off. He's excited to be writing world champ here on his parting gifts.
No 2-meter rule this time.
Take a quick one, then we'll do the scorecard.
Want to take this off or what? I'll write it again. Can't write enough time. I'm sure we'll get tired of it soon enough.
No, you won't. You'll love it forever.
There you go.
Thanks, sir.
All right.
Oh, snap.
Ladies and gentlemen, having a big round of applause for your PDGA 2016 Disc Golf World Champion.
All right, over here, bring anybody.
Use your mic. Use your mic, Terry.
All right. Everybody know we're going right here on Smashbox. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Downs just announced it. Tell me, how did that sound when you heard it, the Disc Golf World Champion?
Dude, I didn't realize until I wrote it down. It's awesome. It's unbelievable, truly. I haven't slept for, since the tournament started. Even before that, I was just so focused, and it just, that just shows how hungry I really was. Like I said, I didn't sleep 4 or 5 days in a row. I got 1-2 hours of sleep. I just couldn't sleep. My adrenaline was pumping. Just having the lead, having that big of a lead, it's just so much pressure. And I think that's what happened. I let up too early on 17, and so I just didn't really care where my disc went. But it's all right. I think I earned that privilege.
You did. You're almost putting us to sleep with your conservative play, but you earned that.
Yeah.
You earned that out there. What were you thinking? When did you truly think you had this wrapped up?
Honestly, before the final 9, I just convinced myself I was going to win. I had a 5-stroke lead. Yeah, he had some momentum coming into the final 9, but I still liked my position, and I'll take that position any day, any year. So, I just liked my position where I was, and I knew that, it was pretty windy out here. I knew I liked my chances. With the wind, it's hard to score. He would have to make some incredible shots that are not very high percentage. So, I knew that if I pitched around and got a lot of pars and a few birdies here and there, that it's going to be really tough for him to beat me. So that's all. That's how I was playing.
You've had an incredible year, and it's not over. Are you going for that Player of the Year title right now?
Oh, yeah. I think it's safe to say that.
Ricky, what happens now that you're world champion?
I don't even know where to begin to talk about it. It's incredible. It truly is. It's just something that, as a young kid starting at age 15, it's really just something I've strived for, and I've came so close so many times, and it just feels so great to finally be on top and really win in the way I did. Like I said, I earned my privilege to be able to come out here and didn't excite the crowd, but I think I've done that in some other tournaments, so I'll take a stroll in the park here.
Well, you did it with an exclamation point. This wasn't a playoff. This didn't come down to the final hole. You were able to stroll in, as you said. What happens next for you?
I'm just gonna relax, heal my ankle, and just, I'm planning on playing Ledgestone tomorrow, next weekend. But I'm not gonna practice too much. I'm gonna just lay low and really just take it all in. I'm so excited. It's just really truly incredible. I can't really explain it, but all I know is that I just everything coming. Like you said, a long time coming, and it's incredible.
All right, Ricky Wysocki. To all of the fans around the world, go ahead and sign us off as the world champ.
Oh yeah, 2016 world champ, boy!
Nice job. Ricky Wysocki's got some signatures to be had. He also has some more hats and other giveaways. Thank you guys so much for tuning in throughout this entire week. It's been an amazing experience having SmashBoxxTV here present the World Championships. Congratulations to all of our champions. Thank you to the supporters. Thank you to the PDGA, Dynamic Disc, and everyone else from beyond. Ricky Wysocki is your champion. Yeah. We'll see you next time when you step inside the SmashBox.
Oh, yeah.
Nice job.
Thanks, Terry. Let's go! Sports. Anyone see my shirt?
Great job, Terry. Thanks. Great job. Nailed it. That one.